Now, Golden Goose, Chitawe news claims to an Emskaka exploration gap. Eshkaga Tawe news claims the Bedrooms Namaganan. Each state that if there's any profit from that mine each still, I have the Jolly family, Whabouchi family, compensations coming step. Now, and I got Shasha that and I have Golden Goose. Then I just shaken up the other company is Yasham Yaganonium. In Satan, I have Egyptian Osnamasai. In Skimon 70 million to Magno decrease. Nine communities, Camagno Donio. To Nemska First Nation, and from there to CTA Gamagno Whabouchi. Crew Choppers, Nikandohich, Kamia Chulayo for the gas subsidy. $100 got. Each person got. Only if you're a member. Now, $180, what you got the shower in 180 days at 6 months? I guess it's $1.84. So 180 days, I got 6 months wish. Mugwan leader again one day to go to your chop line. So when it's better than a nanishka. Did we tell no in UNG? Got chino do. And I have agreement guy how. I was down at Target. So, Wednesday and when did you bid in school?
As I indicated earlier, and this is based on previous agreements, similar agreements signed by the Grand Council and Cree communities, whether it be with Whabouchi on the Eleanor project, with Mistissini on the Renard project, or with Whabouchi, the Black Rock project. None of those agreements provide for payments to users of that territory or families of that territory.
Miam gada the pomono de shnagni din giban and scotch ma magneyo and tebe with the sidant.
Provide for the creation of funds, whether it be training and employment.
And Magshuyan we have we hagnod agnob magnod hagutent and how just which we tagnod or stagnod not just it's good magno don when sigibant. Did you book that or abitsion?
For community members and
I would introduce which hagnod on about I'm sky not Nishkin and I'm Scots Mountain Tepe, there was Sidon just which is so dull.
the community and having the support of the Taliban of the impacted territory and design
which stagnant snacked.
development. So
Yamana which she'd not
we understand that the mining,
Stano and what's soon but snanned.
hunting, trapping and
The Schnagga that way I got a description to Honanod Mago to what channel and honey and them.
there are funds to alleviate
Mugmag, doing and Shoyan.
alleviate those issues. So
Shuyan down and how did you chag no don't go and see and how that cool da. We will be snagging you again when we are done 8 days to Pamogno to do snagging it.
With Nemaska Lithium, the financial chapter hasn't been
Gehangen Shuyan Yamo Magno the Majestic not sterish. Has given Witty a more he would. So the one get Shuyan Ochum Behagano that's good Mazano.
community members and affected users will have access to money.
Just get it to which Hagnodonzi, Hotenem Skynot.
Going to be a social and cultural fee.
Genton Hagen of Tagnot stay with them no and I get no they can get the doctor Shuyan, Epakan be Hagnot.
Da wege egen gai snako nistum gai semu da jaun matsu uns kumun muget snagen ga begun wende ji magno ga ji puken mogno shuyan compensation gai den mamu jis knota no u nemskats da wege zgada gun is match ga ji wi chagna don ji dam skut mal ji ga taku do ji mutsken skumun ga stado games programs ga jis knota ignot die chairs ga mutumen egun skaji gnoch tegnon he eskeshen na he demudena ya mudegno es skumun skadaun hen haus shuyan epuken mogno nem skayuts tgji weit muden ji ga ni ganz skeko ji puken hagnu ga shuyan ji stagnot skets gon ji wi chagna don ji he ga chayudo ji ga do hodon ha programs ga ji stagnoko Skadaun han shuyan we are getting ganz skeko we are ji we mudno Josh quits some way again here. Egun skajis knock na no way.
Robert, you can question. And again, I have a snack to Musha, and they speak there wouldn't I have, and the guy have ban office girl. Much hydrocopic subsidy adoption. Once we say down now. Which say down it, okay, I should give it a bit chilly. A dagno dana, which could you be cheating, and which could you be chigunchi, the much the penny rent, a good dagno. So we get the data directly to the house, and chain of the GI about the motive which we need. Get the doctrine chilly. Gwysg di do dawn yn siwlio, e deud di da cwgwyd na, yn yw'n yn dwys dyn hi. Na'n amsgwy yn lawyer yn sydd dawg y chans gyd. Hag yda?
Ora, ja, Harry, dwi'n sgwrs hyn gan hi. Nys dim gan yn letter gan ei mwy hyn. There's guys snags gan nistum guy hit stands a golden goose. The boat we your band guess Yari G datum mo guy direct to GM had tallyman get a families. Naga nga waited the guy remember the guy Jika mad guy near and he got skagik. Rega snags it no statue in a Nabamorgan, you have much I'm done. I Jika Madga, Zuzmakan, no mag to Kagan Sidge. The guy, Jiga and Jenny Ganskaka. Naga go eat the guy. Remember the director, Jim Hadgan, your families can a tallyman. And you stay naga, can enjoy it one and get Griska. I got Grisk. You should sweet that guy. Can I get the guy? This guy Freddie G. Ginny Gansk me check and the host. I can get a taxi the guy. Mamma go in Stargats, Nyanga, dream hits. And did I go good stack? Did you to the man? Let's stick in we show and Daniel and G. And I can't go on those nigam says nice go on those. Nemskar uit misschien het zo en zie niet gaan schoon gaan ja wat je snaakt I'm with the forestry, mining, energy, more snacks kind of project to do not. I only mostly am hanging down and done. I can go eat it again. As we Bassett Scott, chief and council, I can go to Texas. That project, I'm with them. Meow and like Lavac, I'm with dead, Whabouchi, I read this project. Then nickel. Again, I got up to call, I got enough matnism. Ja, es gaat doen in her. Een project Mugai Monarch is een also gaan die company. Arbeiten der halt nemska exploration door chill gaan die. Een ga company ga sagen dat Monarch is gaan. Kagen nei die ga doen dan die nemska exploration money o lithium ga dood ka. Nie en die say nga o die say moet doen project. Again you saka ga je boek taraga. Again dat doen taraga nie am sagdik. Ik ga iets maar aan gaan. Een suggestion gaan. En ga moet doen dus het zijn het gaan normaal daar. Gezien dan dat je het jij moet maken. Dan het gaat dit nano. En ga moest staan gaan. Zijn het dat je nog daar naar gaat. Ga je jij moet maar naar gaan. Dan skumot. Gaan us niet ga je moet daar gaan. Dugan is niet higher. The way skin a bunch goes from Buyaga. Dugan in your cultural leave. The gods get her seeked. Yabud Jacob Diganio, you know, son. Yabud, you practice the guy here. Then I guess I'm not guy. The decent do he said, the god need gas, she needs go. I'm snad done. You should not again then skumot. I can go eat my done.
Conscription is okay. Chia Robert, I'm McBurty. Chia negotiate on of where I have. And those sick are in the I have a tape in there. As could you that golden goose motion Jim skin I have leather guy. I chumog not Freddy, I would get you to cast man. A conjish guys Tao Jedney I have claims to I have. Golden goose to Nemska expression. I nasm skin on and I have. I'm sending I am my taxi Ashka. I transferred to Whabouchi and the Henny. A scooter guy, how George Whabouchi got Macano da. New guy got transferred, new I had R21 guy. A guy, out Macano when he doesn't have a jurisdiction on somebody else's trap line. I have it's Macano when he only has a jurisdiction on category 1. So new guy did new I have a job at Chagman new lawyer James Rowley. We're going to shoot my going to today got seat man and I have only got Chagman James Rowley. Kawishamad near my dad. Jim, we just better material. Action with Daniel. My dad was around 84 years old. Kawishamagno the ban office. Kaidagno da Jerusalem Hackney and those. We just extruded the digital technique. Because we knew I on those. So the other guy I have, near my situation. Got Tam Higgin and Baba my house, which got best in here the boundary. Without asking permission from my Jolly family. I got to be in here. I did money. I got nasty. You snacked guy, Sky to go out. and go with the Robert, says Jim Howe and here. Jim Howe, go with Mugnil. So when you got the Grand Council, Nemska Expression, Bank Council, the mining company, we just say to Mugnil. So, Moshe, I speak to the Wushinat. Nia Moshe was down. So, when somebody makes a mistake, I end up paying for it. I did man, near a Jesus knew to Macanio. I just studied in the Wushinano. We ask you to go to Rajishi. To je Scott heb chagan. So would you integrate with that? You think it's right? And you got that guy. And nobody's got a jurisdiction in my chaplain. You have to go through me. You have to go through Kenny. Now, you're investing money on my chaplain. Good investment, yeah. So, as we not I hope people understand. I have to bring it out. So, such I have Rodney, Jim Howe. So they gave me a direction where to go to. I have to fix this. So, Matthew come, we say to Mucha. Jipuk Simon Jaji Dalot. Because 1960s, my dad, Shash to Prospectonio, before any white man can put his foot on R21. Three places in Skoshny. Wimse, I have samples with them, Kachichignich. I mean to eat dinner, because yesterday I can go down. Just nice and sit to go in you. And there's one at the back leg, we're somewhere on that area. Every couple of minutes new. Me and I run that my say, it's a lot of the guys go up madness. I can't miss it, Nisney. I have Lancading and Casteco Donut. 1980. Mining company from Campbell. I prospector, Jabicho, Shibumojo in Gasio. Make up God's knee. Actually, it's behind Odinha. Come you sit and snee. Near my dad, I have many claims garden. What the other person got. I Shibumo Judge and Gaso nickname, I guess. And Nihaga Dianio, all the spots came with man. When you actually got my origin, when you try him out, near never buy him Higunan. Mogan I have, got transfer none of I have. And a boundary, I would coach me to beat now. Since coming now, I have committed to my but I'm going to try my best to fix that. And you're going to get speed. You there?
Yeah, I think it's an important point that you brought out. You came to my office last week. You took Sunday and you worked. Kaya mo dumatsin here. Jesus and Joshua, we're going to get those see and the Michigan that's the good says in its commands again. Niaga just cannot man. Gwebenan hey good I'm scored mal. That's got the ats. To after match. To start can here. Dan again gajin hat chicken again is shots. Egan guided dan. Egan the mug Jason he wits. Joe that's got the egg. Did you mount the egg? Did you want to make? We did an end because so the end must see. But Kabatstman the one Nascona here. The gun CTH you each shred new. We get you 8 more judges, Macan shit. But scarce and show, eh? But Gebetan, Danish not to mega. And they them together the Jewish shang together. That is Gajish not taken no Jewish shang and Jewish and Bertie. Good, but some gets again the GM much guest see. Doubts us when the GM want to go see you. But I'm not thinking for Harry Game.
Okay,
wait. Okay, Nanakunji doubts I'm scoot mouths. Then you got some squire shinny, and you should it make a game you shouldn't shinny. Going Domac company. Bed Dominan. Young Nanemash, you can no magnot. Michigan shinny. Gaibers with money than Hagam squat. Cheese can have. I need the exploration companies. My wheat moods. I get a bit of which it not the criminal exploration board as which we don't know. As some said, I'm scored about G. With more than did you not watch as again any guns? That's just that way I'm used to shiny with now them discuss it. And here, like Lavak, it's got you with my wapcha here, Gee, but Gilm Shinigan. Then how it looks in here, new guys cannot go. Dan how is snaske en den gigantiske det skal nå med dagen jusni. Jeg må til skushida.
Okay, James took shoot right but I have. And guy I mom gwen and when stem gam squad new sini. We ask could say made you. So I'm going to ask my sister to bring the home. I'm snaps checking her. Near my dad. Jim snaps kicking with now. Internet a bit Megan here. Nemska expiration. Did each state in there? Ogo gam Scots in because down south I'm skak went to go. No, and CBC knows I'm sent the television now. Much no cargo in. So, I'm going to date my going to detox. You can action her. When comes God new. So, the book same one, Jadi, Nemska exploration, Jadi Bedjams Nahamamdo. Because you're going to start waiting those now, mostly Mutana. So, my sister is going to be down you. So, the money company that we had, the job technical. I will come Scott Nissini. Have you
Stjerner er snapskikken. Udtager stand. Could you opt in on?
Nasma Harry. But there, Thomas, English, she's more.
Aku te hoje chui hai Harry kai me dai he. Aku nji kau hai kau ku ke tum go nio. Ni ga when ni stem beju itum ha gui when ni stem gam squad nio. Tanesen kasot na bel gam squad nio sini. It was in 1960s. Gam squad nio sini. Mo ya ji name ho on that person, the first person who found that rock there.
Gezegd maar Gib Rasa op te. Because net zei is nachts gaan claims moet eens ja show me dan Chad wenzi ke dawa jet min goed get dat min en doet zet min dawa jet min en doet zet min dawa jet dan is nachts ke hoe ge und diese models ge. So gi goods man ja en het zet the history.
And the reason why I want to speak up too, because I don't know why George doesn't show up, and Josie, I don't know why they don't show up here. I don't know why. They keep been asking them to come to the meeting. They don't show up. If you're dishonest, you're like that. You won't show up. If you're dishonest, you won't show up. I think it's better to fix the problem before we start the project. We have to fix it, right or wrong. We have to fix that. Because, hasn't you eaten? I said now, when we had a meeting the last time, George Whabouchi and his brother, Joseph Whabouchi, and my dad, and James Raleigh. He was the lawyer. And they had a meeting. They had a meeting with my dad. And my dad was old that time. I guess he didn't know anything about that because he couldn't speak English. Only George and James. They were the only ones they could speak English. But my dad, he couldn't speak English. And when they had a meeting, this thing hurts me. When they had a meeting and they told my dad to sign boundary where your hunting ground is. But my dad didn't do it. And the other elder, Joseph, he did it in angry way. Angry way. He slapped my dad's hand, my elder's hand. He slapped it. I don't think it's right to do that when you have a meeting. And he slapped my dad's hand. And he took a pen, whatever, a pen or a pencil. And he marked the map there? He marked it in angry way. He took the pen. That was our hunting ground on that side. The problem started now. The problem is starting now. Before, they should have a meeting before they had that project. They should have a meeting. The ones, Jolly family and Whabouchi family, they should have a meeting like this. Instead of George Whabouchi, 4 of them. He's I want to say this, okay? He's a dishonest person. You know, if you're a dishonest person, people won't trust you. He won't trust you. People won't trust you if you're dishonest. When you're a leader, you got to be honest to the people. You got to be honest to the people so the people will trust you. That's what George did.
He did.
And he doesn't want to show up.
He did. I shouldn't do it more, Harry. I think Josh, I'm scuds mouths, got your mama, but no.
I know you do that.
Did you jam with me? No, ask the good here. Did you be did you jam with me? We wait.
And I'm going to show you the picture, the person who found that rock there. I'm going to show you the picture.
Yeah.
I have it here. It's a proof.
Okay. We'll then I hear. Oh, my dear, like Sonyan.
I know. I just want to show you.
Sit stand and I did as Harry jam with them. Did you mob and nose and Jake? Then he did
This
you
is the
jam with
person that found that rock. First time, 1960. I was still young that time. I was still young. This is the witness. But my mom is 94. But her memory is getting lost. He's the witness. But that's my dad. He's the one that found that rock. My dad. And then in 1965, he was a counselor. My dad, we were on the Olnemska. Olnemska Jidanan. He was a counselor. And before that, 1960s, that's the time when he found that. I was still young that time. I remember that time. He found that rock. That's why there's a problem here between Whabouchis and Jollies. When I used to go with my dad trapping, I was still young. I remember going down to Mountain Lake. You would stand on the mountain lake. And then, and you know what he told me? On this side, this is our land. On this side, on this side, that was in 1960s. But I don't know who changed that. I don't know who changed it. I don't know why things are changed. If you look at the maps, that's where we're going to see that. It's proof that my dad knew his land on that side. But my job was about Whabouchi. Nah, he didn't found that rock. He didn't found it. It was my dad who found that rock. And there's a problem there between Jollies and Whabouchis. There's a problem.
It's then Edith.
I know,
I'm
I
here.
know.
Yeah. So what I would suggest, did you mamu biagya, and it's the only way you can did you with the Megan here. My Indiana with the Hanyank son would get mamu biagya, mugda but stand him sneaking. But I against my agagon, you should not know that an agreement. I don't get just cannot take it.
And you're saying the project is going to start pretty soon.
We need an an here. We don't guides get you with Maganoga up chat and ish with the that's Skakog against where it's with that.
And then, if we cannot solve this problem, I know we could do it, us as a Jolly family. We could do that. We could hire a lawyer. Even though if it's expensive, we still could do that. Lawyer. You know, one time my boy was in jail, and I've been looking for lawyers, you know, Dailuyan, and I found one expensive one. I found him in Rowan to help me to take my boy out of the jail. So he said, okay, it's $600, 1 hour. That's what he told me. And I told him, no problem. I'm going to deposit the money to your account. Just give me the account number. I told him that, and he trusted me. You got to be honest if you want to be a leader. You got to be honest. So the people will trust you. The people will trust you if you're honest. If you're dishonest, you're in trouble. The people won't trust you. People won't trust you. That's the problem. We had a problem right there. But I think it's to solve the problem before you start the project. The Jolly families and Whabouchi families. That's how the problem started. It's not the money that, we're going to be rich. No, it's not that. You know, we have to go even. Even between Jolly family and Whabouchi family. We have to be even, equal. Everyone is not.
Judith, saying I, to the time I was with the Matchkin, and when you Robert get that, I got the end of you eat Matkin, just to me also ask that I got semi Joe guy, the guy R21, yeah, I can see good guy, and that's good. The you didn't dig, and Satan, then a snacks candies, get an SG Optic, a CTA, regional CTA. We got how he's snagging. Then I get the guy snagging those. Then I get Scotland. To go on the guy said snag and Scudmaga. We said snag good. Now to go on I'm with them again and stay ten again. No, you're not dumb skank again. To go on how what book tag. Well, so I told the Gnatska, we more big family, Gnob Magno. My goat Magia got now. I got Jimmy Agno, the guy, Shulia.
I know, we're not looking after,
Yeah.
we're not thinking about Julia.
Stenga. Udes a Gnop the Gnatska, project. We more big family, himself, and Nemskino. We should be Hagnoga. I'm not snack Dagnots and I. And jig out, jog out, that's Gagga. Did you jig up Mungaga? We booked my shag to go. Mag Nemskino mean that you had Messega Nemskino, that you sit the weed, that you treat Sigurnia. That way is up there when you jagger. No, I guess you got Samin guy. The goodness near to go to do the Gnoga, Eskim Chan. Me, no, Sasses up there which. I saw a gnop Dinotska project and Antka. Nako is snagging. Njagon Easton, what do the Gnots mean? Duxent na mean at the Gnotsk the Jagon. So that I can say, Jindot say to Gnotska, get wap diagnodan and Skino, dan how this they TJ go. The kayak we ate get, dan it is gabust. Nag, I am with them guy, I boundaries go. Yan guy, we got us and I make them here on again. It took get to go on us, what booked my shag. We don't Again, this the Dangani. Muga, Njagon this question, man, Pape going out and how again just needed what you get, it's good much acid get. The needs to go get some door. Gnop the Nangan, getting Mondia side, Ujamakans getting it quick and Sidiga. Again, I am hit starman. Yeah, we must start that and how I did the needs go to go. Yeah, I go to Yatasco. I was in the damn study with not the Magiatica. It's good saying as I sweet out to go. Jano much as with Anno again here. Did you ask to Witzka? Steam Hanos and the companies get to each signals you ask and this aim he could go. We went doing it with the dog. So at the good get to go on you got jamming for your family. But still, had to go on a good swimming, get to go on to get a book shaming for your family. But still, again, get Etegen ge Whabouchi and date moga. Seven had double signal magno. Evidently guess a signal automatic. So etegen ge go on a bit on behalf of your family. Do it.
Okay, 1960s kay dayan. Okay, I was still young that time. And we didn't see no Whabouchis over on that side. We just stopped. There was nobody. Until after the road came. That's when they moved over here. And then, it's not the only Jolly family. Charlie Blacknett, he was raised from his grandfather, Billy Jolly Jason Castle. We didn't ago, he was raised from his grandpa. I wouldn't might see it somewhere there. Okay. And Charlie is not included there. Charlie Blacknett. He's wandering around. Nowhere to go, to hunt. And he was raised on that land there. That was my dad's older brother, Billy Jolly. He's wandering around. He don't know where to go to hunt. Hagen is Naxit. Hagen and Charlie. No, man, everybody sees him. And Tiger just 1,000 when they jail squawking on. You put people aside. You don't care about the other ones. Hagen is speech. It's my name now, Charlie. I'm here this morning at the school. I just seen him at the school. And he talked to me about that. He says, I don't know where to hunt. I don't know what to do. So I moved over there, she said, at the Roberts River, Gomokoet. I don't know where to hunt. So she says, if those people, if they try to against me, so I have to move to Nemska, I don't know where to hunt. Hang a bit, shit. I'm so worried. And I have children, he said. I have grandchildren. Hang a bit, sit this morning. I seen him there. Motion of ma. It's the magic ma. Mushum had got caught out in that land there. Mountain Lake.
Thank you.
You know, I care for people, you know that? Yeah, I care for people.
I think we're getting on to another issue. Like,
yeah, he's included there. Yeah, he's included there.
Tgini Hebrew and Ashkud, I chewed the Jam Lignator, Tgini Hebrew tagging a mere Tashkud to Tgizum. Okay, a piece stage guy, and they told Sadina, Tgia.
You were saying, if you want to say anything, you could say anything. It's open.
Since that,
it's open, okay? Anybody can say anything. It's open.
You mean, okay?
I don't know why they stop people when they're trying to say something. And they're trying to stop people. I don't know why. I don't know why. This is for the meeting. Anybody could speak up. Anything. Anybody could speak up. What do you want to say? They could speak up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's chicken. Morgan, yeah, never going to the dark come. That's good. Near Teddy Gadget. There's a Northman again. If there's an issue with like a trap line dispute at Dixka, you can ask for a meeting like this general band meeting to jam with the Gnussen here.
Yeah.
But right now we're talking about the project. Like,
I know you're talking about the project. The project is from the land. It's from the hunting ground. That's where the project starts. It's right. Yeah, it's true.
West of the Anogan, and to Jimmy the Danoga, get within Skunano and this. Then let's get Scotland and Dosti, get when the Gamsnason and Dosti, Again, how we eat my again, that in school again, how we eat my the history. And at the again, now aim he get again the in date mega. Was again big on the date actually, Uga and this Nistan get it sweet. Like Grish Jadim some snaded again, boundaries and Keg the nooks can have the nest and school dig job. Joga families can and James Scoods Marga. Then it is some scum the dog, yeah. Then it is snagging, we snack diagnosis. I'm going to have a ductke. I'm going to have big. It's like if it's part of the process, it's going to be part of the process.
The boundaries are included in project. Yeah, but they're included in there, eh?
Yeah,
they're included.
No one can.
Yeah, when you look at the map going out there, minute, it's in land, Janon here, Harlanga, yeah? It's included there.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you is, if you want to settle that, we settle in the dispute, ask for a meeting to settle it. We just do that on. That's what I'm. That's what I'm telling you.
I would just have to go in the data. When you talk about project, I would ask you to include on here.
That's going to take some time. Get data access going to get that out now. We must beg us good. We must beg us good and stay on. So again, this book same young Gani. Did you go to Germany? Did you took to meeting? Did you read them the families? Did you knock the guisque? Did you knock the asking here? Then it's not on your boundaries. Again, is why the done. We the Egypt cheating guy. I mean, books. Then it's got some new work. It's got to dig on. So there can be another session, John. Did you eat mega? Didn't school dig then it's not on your boundaries.
How come George didn't invite us when he had that meeting? I was wondering why. He only invited my dad, but my dad, he wouldn't speak up. If I was there and him, I would speak up. I would speak up, and my dad couldn't speak up. He was old. He died in 1990. He was 84 years old. Okay. They wanted him to be in the meeting. You know how old people are. They're weak. They cannot speak. They should have invited us. A jolly family. We mock my dad. Because he was too old for that. For the meeting for my dad. They should include us. George got meeting. They should include the family, not only my dad. Because I guess he knew that my dad couldn't speak. He couldn't speak up. Maybe that's why he wanted my dad to be there. Because my dad couldn't speak, he was old. So if George when they had meeting, he should have let us to be there too. Because my dad, the same as my dad, nah.
Yeah.
He was old, man.
Yeah, I agree, you know. But
Yeah, I couldn't speak up.
I wish we could change the past, you know, but we can't. It happened. But now I think it's going to get Westwood Meg. Go some more. Did you move again? Did you Westwood Meg done and go on Westwood Meg? I'm going to do dandies. Ask for a meeting. Ask for a meeting like this with all the families that's got Jerry Westwood Megan. It can be done. All you have to do is ask.
And if it doesn't go through to Joga, what are we going to do? If we have a meeting, okay, and if we put the letter, Joga and he's going to make. And what are we going to do about that? Are we going to fix that problem?
Abbott Chaggins then. They're going to David Set. Abbott Chaggins.
That's it again. If we have a meeting, okay, about the land. So if you give me that letter, what meeting I say at, what are we going to do with that letter?
Well, yeah, they got what's my kind sit die kijken sit niet gaat je goed maat. Dat ik toch zijn de dienst weer aan het gaan. Agen mog je lan. Like msed gdje dvije tmoran like vet spritsagan. Moja studenta no steds ga mi ja msed around your family so diga otac skaliegen dosti. Je bet konjo dan vai dadum stoyatska. Ustamaska dzgmja. Agen dit man gani.
You know what happens when we're trying to have a meeting? There's some people who are shy. They're shy to speak up. But I'm here, I'm not shy. I'm not shy to speak up. I'm not shy, I'm not a shy person. So if we have a meeting with our family, the Whabouchi's family, what are we going to do if they don't come around? If they don't come around, meeting we are here, what are we going to do? If they don't show up?
I eat it. The Uji Gabadot, you bedrow it Magno, then I should be called Whabouchi. You get a chmagno, the Mikojoyo. Ujagon. Kai modem straight day tagan. We all in Gigabadol Bertie or Robert again asking this. So that's not their role. It's our role in the end. Smakan shit and you got stood so as he hibitato. Ka say hen in new guy new high trap lines and I go guy I go to we go. Stiano Mac Stiano de Beer Son de Jim Hiddick. Did you always matic? That at the cornea. The stubborn and Naku that were his snagon. News see I guest use in Higan. Can optimum then the CTA, CRA, Nemska Ban, Msaku, Nanako Schnagon. Ogani that were hey. Bibi Kagano, Tante to Corneo. Mugmag, GNG, go touch Catado, O Mugunji in Hibitado. Muyuji, Mugenian, GNG the beer and Giganto, Sido, until touch Catado, Ogunji Muguji to call.
When Magwins catch the bone, it's my taxon.
Giga when they make a geo and they have checked and those shot a cargan G could get when you touch Kagan.
Town council, no?
We all in GDB when Giga, we all on those your organ scheme hard.
Don't I wait his snaps at Joshi? You know Joshi Jemagan? Chief Downa? We did but snim project to do damage. He's not a hunter. And why? He was asked to be here, but he's not there. They don't show up. I don't know why they don't show up. Josie and George, I don't know why they don't show up. I was wondering why.
Mogabado, and you got chicken those seal. Where do you guys mount? You get chicken and Mogabad.
Yeah, they're going to done, Matthew. And they were here to wake on here. I don't know how it started.
We get cheated. When Jim out of it, sneezed, it was a bit set up. She wasn't my God. I got we may attack the moon. A bit set up. Sneezed. I apologize. Give it. Man dirt. Guide the bit up. I apologize. We know the data. Take tactica. Moon. Datum, mog the Badjum Stadwick, the Badjum Stagwick, the ductant, the Jusko get semic, then how? The speak week, then how? The stack week. Get the Piexen Sutumk, sweat the gun. No way Mugun Jeet, when Jeet. kan dohussido nestenji wenji kan dohudo magam se et chikut nemskatia wasgia peigudeno tiano nemskavino agus naksik agus signobm gwike tegon PHB daganotut tawn nat agun mag jewis naksikia en skustoik geheu yetum dan hau jeishiga bustum muche beigudeno sik agun jewis naksik ge na naku gedeit tagun yemun kutaguen kutujiujagoyo kudwiai muehigo tunt tono yabich muizna gahono de jitet dan wai det msewen petuel mse when es nakset geno aptakuyo uyu nchishkia enchtuyik mse swabum gunano mse jpshich gunano tani de deikya kudit zegon muyut chikjiuchui witano nshkushton muyut tauts njiwenjit kuisk tetiwitko dan hauga bejis buihigwik ndohusi ndeweshkich naingudet nigiba wawane hitim higuyan ndohusi dan den hau kaishnakt adiayan stiusen higen ejibejmid nuen machti Rakenoatkuyu ndohusiu adiayanen yabed naingudet nugogejma and when Mauji Shainut and Esquip Matsit, a Begudeusiatka Chiatria, O Gogejumk, O Bejuitmut, O Bej Miaminum Tia, Agadi Snaxian, Ni, Skudigmai Guyan, Ogun and Dohusi, Ni Mugun de Datemun, Jiji Habit, Yabich, Sukundagutstan, Jijiganu Eatman. Tanio weshkijga kaishikin weichtigenutgia. Edua hiucht manedzagon. Chuit magonano. Giadia gomik tabwe. Aganash mstitjiat numk. Tanen weshkij kaishipet wichtetgia. Tant kanto huts. Cheni minuts. Gutawinots. Tugunen eishia gomuguikia. Ogmagan giva muy dekshni gen gjiwite jidian ogu kanto hudut taba weshkich kap matsiani idechtagun wat tapshkuch kumchet kudek naganshkuk nchishin dohostio muy weshkich yak isnaksut muni udat tanga ishibech wawit muaganodo Oguniu genweitko, wakenweitko gia. Geni indian dohusti, indian geni stiusenhigen, Jimigonen stiusenhigen, numini no chusta. Nuaken seiten et kohmin, skutek stiusenhigen, agait stet. Ni stiusenhigen gamiguyan, tanet stegoniu stiusenhigen. Nwing gejiden, nwing gejiwiten, jejitian. Moog diabwemakt stiusen higen. Egun shagud esnakt. En seiten nish jesnash en seiten min atju hedko ewisen hi gadego dohusi agabegunt isnakko. Mugag tanen ni gapejmiguyan. Dohusihem snadet augmush kakno aptaman augmush kakno ehtmange nuinoch junen muinoch noch iksenhen jiwantan magam shtikiba mshtin jiwantan et chik kutenem skawini ni mashkuz magam shtin jiwantan si shkudik biets kastubudet shkudik gans komunanot kia just budet just bignotu ismenu sibi. Minu washkaigneshu sibi shkudige pshtiashu tagnot. Min yabich jiwuntan yabich ndohusi ogunish. Minu chishu tant jebetnut snanot. I do a one Scotland do husti with the shawant. Mugnashkut nish nusht kilometers and saptenat oguntant genut snanot. No me in the day ten did ye demagan when do hustident. Gamay did ye hatchby heed said ye demag. Was the give a shagwich. Moation the gon tan the dean. Yabich moinget yat nenen. We want to sit at the Gunid new. Much next to the would that you hadn't taken. We shouldn't know, see the pin, cat hogo. Snag on me, good it's say, I am to dig not such, a window snanot. Instead of pin, cat hogo, we with the man, do who see, I got head to cotton. We have it next time, said ye there. I didn't jibawi catchibu hino. Was had a best knocks no. Wouldn't do his seat. Tant mean could it one would snag mine of not here. Mugna be better than to ten mug. Coshan get each my jam gundabe. Mean say ten. Mugnan ten day to dago and ekia. We nastry to ji I him see. How go you? Chugoyu. Which I got that out Georgia. Maybe I get eaten Ogio, which I got that. Was Taba not smack to at the beer Nigino, a snacks it. We were skia, than why he did, than the why he split, than why he dabit chisut gear, I could say dabit chisut. No way no chibet shitten magonen. Should take my guianan and do who see. Zeji do we shunk had need to be a ni chiguma magni ni jiugia. No main gahots we all yauts to you. Jejin do hodo. So go you get, Asian had sugar we heat the door and do who sit. No main gahots was again Mugwes way pshish nagun ni ekno up the man. No me. Had we nicht no nashto punchas ni ekno up ten. Which she snacked ni ekno up the man. Ninji utnugniano tawi. Megods in school ya a kaishit. Pedwija hagi, Jewawi chien and do here. Capshit chick. Pego pundiduk, kaishit. Schooling, into schooling mean, big one. Scoot Madanen Zidugia. A quakia, should the Kawab Mugdanes Pshaim hood, with much hood and not meat. We not extend it in a dick. Action gibbets then, Owen, with Scoot Maguian. When stuck shoe, Scoot Madzangia. Action gibbets then, action jib shit how. Niano tawi, than you guys better question. And so to mangia, nest a the Greekia, at the Ganastu tree, a Bokayan megots, a bit indeed, sut then, stay makots, jitnit chigots, shit hakots, jinit chigots, the goyo age dagots. Megia not extend it either. Tsiginnigadidin in those school on me. Extended date, the Jewism, Chnelschmagen Jewism, Beams, Fkandi the Matsin, Esquewism. We make ya, the US and Chish, and Jishigat, and Edito the man. I don't know good as a snack, Sian Stenamuk, when a Jimster school, a dame, Ishmagui, Mstitagoy. Gestat, mstitegoy, gatskut morgenut, mstitegoy, jetigatsten massot, abzion tut. Egun nein godesh mam de nicht man. Mugmi abet nimmt essen, edin skumgnia, de bier noch dawi, schude gebier zu gwedem, nie de tigno abet man. uustika nantnetuhiat. Mukaan kun tämä musin kutsnaksen, kun pitsnenesen tsek, muimus niin giti knuapten. Waam gewen ei deimek nas sukewi ewi kutstat ewi tut tangajis matsiti yu weskets. Augen tsek knuapm tsnashin kmam tneima jiasus kmoges begoetishigait. Wasigiba en gecheno genizek muinas wieshin gidi dabetsen. Ngo weshibe maumak usnizo dan nestuies bukseimut up matsion. Zegoyogia ewi tit magnest ewi abetset magnest ewin tuhut den uchimit ewi ita. Ewen mushwe weshibe itman. Ewen hemok de didan. Muy tugunut in schoolstone in chisu zegon gaishia mwe higuin. Mwyot ut et shits wendi wiaskabdo tigzi nihi buitout in chishui. Chi hoshon chi hen stuin anot min. Ade utmakanoyan numuini ingji nihi buitan. Ogun dangaishibet ustabuyek dehudat. Ade utmakan shit wio in stuidont kagur wieit gons ustadons wisweusen hignio. No wajigi di bashi chkagods and do husikiawi dan is pshat dan is pshat gawen di knoaptek muijigi di hatstau utsmakan muijigi di hatstau gie utsmakan shit shashwesti tugunio bombshega utstuk niganchkat chan utnemskat.
I have a question for you.
Negre?
When magayat stadnio and jish the hosti Jolly family and Whabouchi.
Angunug dedition shurshidan. Gio maskut to say the note. A wenoga pstich. A wenoga huichwet. Nie out to dan. Muitktiwit man. Shagos min dianen. In schoolstone, muy shagod in diagehen, say the moon, the muy noch dan, muy noch weech wen.
Then how did you na ganochin here? Did you say West Dagenot and had that thing there? The problem, to solve the problem?
Nishtunga, nigamuge mam the nate man. Nish buyanen. Nish the goyo. Nishtim zagon ga kogejim son. Nui nsadune na he. Tabuha ishnago no he. Eyaki tu buyan. Awen godagundo husi. Agamag nsadune manen he. Numingo chuichuen. Wezu nish yaidin de taksut wenzi. Tezi. Isnaksitskia tapskun ega win sedun ko dan hau dan bem snasudogia tezi tuktkia yakit tu buina notkia ideane min sedunenien min go chuichuen min zagon gotnen emyoshit gawi Jesuchten man ad nashtem stimitat mane mwingo to der mwingo to pskader mwingon togi hen ad nash we hat stade ogubeg zagon de deno di spino he di spin mwesen chistane spik skudega uskutum kanot is menu sibi di spinen he Ogun beg zagon, muy no tweet tenende, muy no tweet taudende, tanden zit, niet de beer, niet chigutga, kayadox chunio jeji, utip mat chua zedonius tiu, no muy no tweet taudende, jeji yashidemado, good the quail, gie, instead you to wait, Ega miu I jawdan anot. Gees I snakt. Ent je jucht buit. Moes epkan hidden anot. Snakt. Nwyn o tweet taudende. Wet to go to Pskadman.
So the Jolly family and the Whabouchi family, I guess we have to collect everything that we have to collect everything in the past. In the past, yeah. Santo Stikia, the maps, everything. Who was the leader again? The hunting ground. We have to collect everything, every information, everything who was on that land. And then if we collect everything, and then I guess we have to use lawyer. Lawyer. No matter how much we spend money on that, we're not going to ask you for money. We're not going to ask them, the band for money. If we collect everything, okay? We share information. We got information in Shibogumo, the mining in Gadokchi. We got everything there. And James Raleigh, I think he's got something there. So if we collect everything that's behind it, and then what's going to happen?
It's going to need team heat.
Ja, it's team heat.
Moet je het maar niet. Moet je angst schon. Niet gaan nede. Die wapte man, die stoene man, die zeite man. Ook goed, die spuit gaan. Die dan. Moet je angst schon. Moet je dan eens naar zien. Ook eens naar zien. Ngedi boeks heimon ze gaan, die miu boeit. Ngedi habit ziekte. Ngedi gegwedj maar, skudi gezwendit. Die habit ziekte. Die pstko. Die mamu beik. Die jim de donk. Dan den hou die shin he boitai ko he. Ogen cheshnash boy da we. Dian winks hun. Die doet man. Mokumin dian kshun die dan. Ogu cheshnash. Jemiu bihi goik die dan. Ja, betwist te kunnen schenen en stabu hikoik kudet zegon. Taba me tsemuk ties naksi. De me tsemuk nio do hosties nakko. To go niet zijn aan doming kudek do hostia yakitu buiko. No moet seiteni. Mugwa skudek chbuite da behen is naksi ke win hibuitai. Kedum chedo de sebej metsen moest pumpknieuw. Staben gaide. Muidiano gais ptat sik nashwa huge gosit to danano. Zigen do emano je chaini minut ndehu dat je jiwi chivedo. Ook beke zegon. Was ogen zinzi weskij kapet nto hodonio nto hosti. Ogen ze yado weskniu seit namunio. Ziano Mwynastum stiki baring gedi denni, di ade diut sabm gnianum shum, niano tawi, mwyn gedi dengia, eugu ganto hut, ugai, ganto huyat, magne, nuen wetachkuk, eugu ganto hut. Muga gesquisen dauden di cheno jiwi chiedo, en giba dabe we tutum ke. Kiba di tutum kun. Moet je didn't get a go to just nash. I got to me who did that.
But we got a proof. When I'm squad New City. It's my dad who found the rock first. That's why the mining starting now. They're going to start the mining. We have a proof that my dad found a rock.
Yeah.
We got a proof. We're going to collect everything to have a proof. We're going to collect everything, and we're going to have a proof for that. Proof to get the one. Yeah.
So I hear.
Muyut Jin Hibui Tagno and Zagon, Piachu gets to me. Gehu Zagon, I hear Piatai, Muyut, Woot Hun Shishka Bik, Chikichi Vestan, the day, Kapukutan and Zagon, Kawi Yayan, Muyut with it. Achu Mashkuj, Tabahiban Hibuita, Achu, but Muyut Hui. Muyashan Dante Shim Hitik. At the top scat the him he take no more attitude to go to go to school.
That's how the project started, because my dad was the person who found that rock. That's how the project started. That's how it started. Okay? I know you're trying to put that thing aside. Yeah. Because we're talking the project, and I'm talking about my dad. He was the first one who found that rock, the first person. And the first person who found that rock, that's how you start the project. That's how it started. Because my dad was the first one. Yeah, I know. When I want to speak up, I have to speak up. What I want to say, when I want to say something, I have to say it. I don't have to put it, I don't have to hold it here. It has to come out. It has to come out. You know? If I keep it here, if I keep that thing here, it's going to ruin me out. That's why I have to prod it out. Let it out. I have to let it out. I have to let it out. I want to have a idea. Taban chimo no idea. Sago de ngai taxit ni ana baba me yemet. Hagan jita to watch. Much the anu yemet no. Muin danu yemawe. Instead in Ojimao yet. Msni that and stanny. But the abbot of GM Higuani touched that. You're authority, but I'm not authority. I'm way down. A little buck, just a little buck. We still could have. If you're authority, people can correct you. People could correct you even though you're authority. The things they know, they don't like it. They could still correct you. At the authority that way.
Yeah.
You still could correct that person. I would take away the Teddy.
That's good.
Yeah.
I shouldn't just start on our presentation, Ted.
Okay.
If there's any other questions or anything you want, I'm here in Nemska. You know, this is kishin Genevska mbuha unskomunia wudegnos my minisinski minisinski wudegno. So we're done here, and if there's any last questions, we can answer them. Yeah.
Okay, Kirby. Good sandwich.
Oh, that news game. Well, I have great concerns again. The concerns on the mine. It's health concerns and the concerns of the issues in the community. As ni betam chetan agash, chetan di betan babam niga those chi amut di betan the weskij they amut kndeta. But we tanai to get babam tanan haish nachka ka ya ngai amut ma. Moi go chamu den hajish but jisha I have new guy dead. We had got it down here. Did you not talk that in there? That because John sits down Australia and did you reach higher than did you talk to Megan? Did you get the same way those documents? Did you provide them way? Okay, Mogai snapped. Just not Hudson Bay Company, HNG or somebody else. Those documents, the original linings on the Tallyman's land. And Kagan in there, I heard it was what Inco and Rowan Naranda. Who were the first ones that were in in this territory that had those land claims. So it's not too hard to do that for the people. If they are asking for it, maybe it's just to give it to them. And one of the things that I have great concern, like I said, is the environment of our lake. It's our lake. And this lake, as you can see, comes down to right here. And then how the piles, the rock waste pile, to be moved a little further away. And this basin here that you have that's right beside the lake, if there's an overflow, it goes into the lake. I've already read into one of the statements that happened in near Amos, where it overflowed or something ruptured and went into the lake. The lake was contaminated. But other than stopping the project to clean up the lake, the government said to continue. And this is what I'm worried about. If any contamination happens, it's going to contaminate all the way over here. Whatever's going to be in the lake, even the kids that are swimming in the lake on a daily basis throughout the whole summer. Those are the dangers that I'm looking at. The species of fish is the trout. I love trout. I love trout more than I love the sturgeon. For others, they love sturgeon. I love to go fish for trout. I'll spend a day or two out in the lake. If I could catch one, I'm happy. If I feel a nibble, okay. It satisfies me. But the taste of my trout. And I was born on that area. I explored that area as a kid. I explored those hills. I used to remember my dad talking about those. Where they used to go, where they used to hunt, where they used to originally settle. Huh? And then it worries me till this day, this is what's happening. But can we look at this as not to put anything too close to the lake? Whatever the outcome is on this, but not any of this large open pit. Okay, it's going to go down to the ground, be absorbed, but whatever it is, the rock pile, the stockpile of this is going to be run off to the water. Those are my great worries that will contaminate this lake. If you throw a dust of air, it lands somewhere. If it goes into the lake, it also settles somewhere. And that will damage a lot of things. Well, there's a lot of fish, there's a lot of things happening on that lake. We've been hearing about this for the past 2 days now. Now, I'd rather not see these things right beside the lake to be done. And I'd rather, if people consent to it, to be moved a little bit further away instead. You know? Like you said, the road can be moved in a different area. A company has that expenses. We can see it now already in those maps. And one of the things I want to bring up is also consent. The consent. I want the lawyer to bring this word up to the people, to explain it to the people, because I'm short of time as usual. Because if we don't consent for this, will we be heard as people and say it's not going to happen for the people? But will the government overstep our consent and go through with it? That is always the major question that I always have in my mind. What are we going to do? I know it will benefit the community, but I don't think the community is ready for this. Huh? We talk about development, but I see already clearly that people are not ready for a lot of things. We are still young. We have lacked so much over the years that I've seen. Like, I've been through so much in my life, and I've seen what people go through. And these are some of the worries that I come to see is also the impact in this community. What the project brought in EM1, there's a lot of prosperity that came in, but there's a lot of struggles also. We've seen so much. We had to go through so much within ourselves too. So these are some of the main issues that really concern me. Now, we have money, but then again, we misuse our money sometimes. And one of the great things is the community's been suffering for so long. And with everything else, I hope that there's something else that can be put in for the welfare of the people. Not just the wealth for the people, but the welfare. It's always looked at as an issue, like this politics and money. It's always at an issue, but not a welfare issue enough. I'm tired of seeing people hurt. I'm tired of people seeing other people angry on the fact that they have this so much, but they're not putting it into to the welfare of the people. It's just solely that we neglect a big part of this. But the outcome of everything else, I don't know if we're going to be listened to. That's my worries. But I do worry about the lake and the people, the environment. I love the land. But I don't want to see this thing too close to the lake. I don't want to see anything too close that'll damage this lake. I've been fishing on that lake. I've been swimming on that lake. I've been paddling on that lake. I circled the whole lake with snowshoes. As a young kid, I looked for my ptarmigan everywhere. I'd rather see something being salvaged as much as you can. The closer the mine is to the lake, the faster it will ruin it. That's what I'm worried about. I'd rather see this being moved. It doesn't matter if it's going to save the company money, but what about us? We'll be the ones left with the damage in the long run. You'll be off with your wealth. Every little riches is going to be off, and we're going to be left with whatever happens in the end. And these are some of the great concerns that I have like this again, but I don't want to see that part. If the people consent is valid or is it not? Do we have the last say, or is it the government that has the last say? What will happen in the end, in the long run? And I want you to explain this to the people, sir. It's not just for my benefit, for everybody else. Where is this thing going to lead eventually, even if we don't want it? Because there's a lot of great concerns on my part. And there's also this part where if we say no, does this no stand? I want to hear this out. So that's the last thing I want to hear out before I leave.
I'll answer the environmental part of it. Tawega is naguna stigna tegnus. Egan modja gon nistam gashkana tegnutska. Tawega ji subitagnutska and wodagnutn skunegnot tegnuts. Ji dagnun he company. Tawega ji dena udmakan sidu datskada. Tawega skumunan ji wega wutayeg. Magjiganatmo ji wega wutayeg. I got ducks processing plant out now in the territory. Ne majagon el stagnutska ne get the powder. De shaunska ba without udezga bedudmunyu. We skumunan he. Mukna beats gabaden rock. But cannot take no it's with diagnose wait, let me finish. That way it's with diagnose here. They're going to in the process, environmental review process. Egde modjago nistam jaganot diagnose. Egin a B, sti. Kayamo the menji yat stagnots. Where is going to take on here? They're going to there's a process for that. And it's through the COMEX, I'm sure is the government's EU's gets good church. New Jagoyo switch same way they're going to have that time to bring in our questions about the question that you have. But staying on here. So
She did not get how to chemicals, yeah, but stagnago in the process to dilute the lithium so it can get the riches off from the bottom. But whatever happens on the top, you're trying to dilute everything else. That's never going to be. That's never going to be completely diluted. It's still going to stay the same way. We have runoffs here like no other. There's so much lakes that are overflowing, and we get it into the lake. And just to move that on the side, that's nothing too much, but I don't think the government will actually allow not for us to build this. That's what I'm worried about me.
I'm going to get Francois to talk about the consent, but the environmental issue, there is a process for that. And if you want to touch more on the
I know the process. I've seen the process. I've read it on the internet. No matter what happens, if there's any damage or if there's any contamination that'll happen, no matter what the process is, nothing will be stopped. It'll still be continued to work on. They're not going to say, okay, you got to stop this and clean up your mess first. They're going to continue it. Okay, snagni in the past with no need then. How could you redo again then? How? Egnak moj na hem stamam datim higani. Kastandish snack and danish bitte witten to the lake net when him my arts and habits. And then how at that every mining company, it's never as they say, like, okay, it's going to be clean, it's going to be safe for everything else. From day one, if you start something out from day one, you start excavating it, it's not just that material, that element you're looking at. It's other elements combined within there. And that's what the dangers are. It's not just you're asking for us to look at one source, but can you tell us what other materials, what other elements will be exposed off of that ground? And if they get washed away, diluted into the river, how much will that happen? How much damage will happen to our land?
Well, maybe two issues. I'll touch upon the issue of consent that you raised earlier, and again, this is based on experience in terms of the agreement signed by Whabouchi, by Mistissini, and by Whabouchi. Each and every time, by signing the agreement, the community was consenting to the project and supporting the project. So in these specific instances, the communities and the CRA have consented to the project going ahead. Now, the question becomes somewhat hypothetical. If Nemaska was to refuse to consent to the project, what would happen? Would the government sidestep the refusal of the Cree consent? It's hard to say at this point. The only example I have where the Crees have refused to provide consent to a project was Stratico. And Stratico, essentially, the Crees, both of Mistissini and as well with the CRA, have refused, and this led to the government refusing to issue the certificate of authorization. That's the only example I have where the Crees have refused consent, and it led to the government refusing as well. Whether that's automatic or not, it's hard to say, but based on recent experience, provided that the environmental and social issues are properly addressed, and provided that the Crees have expressed their consent to the project will likely be approved. But if the Crees refuse to support a project, it's at this point in time, as I said, the only example I have is Stratico.
Well, I heard that Stratico is also appealing for this decision. And those are the worries that are coming to mind. But it's just my concern is, okay, what happens if all this gets into our lake, into our drinking water? We've seen in other communities, they're so poor, and they get scabies and other forms of diseases. Like, I don't want to have to worry about anything else like that. We've seen the mine in Ujibukumu, near Shibukumu area, and Chapé, and what's happening to their water. They have mercury and other things in there that come out of that mine. They're closer to their lake, and that river runs off into their lake, and so is this one. That's what my concern is. I don't have to keep buying my water anywhere else. I love this lake. I love to go fishing here. But once something is damaged, it takes a long time for it to renew itself. We're not going to look at a little simple process of 20 years. We can't really debate on something like that. But once some of these animals are contaminated, they will die off, especially the trout. The trout is a very sensitive species to the body of water. A little fraction of it that changes, then okay, the species will die. What about everywhere else? This does not just run off to this part, it goes off to the old Nemaska site. That's where everything else turns out, it splits.
But, and again, this, to me, this highlights the importance of the environmental review process. Any community member will have the opportunity to raise those very specific concerns before the review committee, and you'll have the opportunity to do so directly with the proponent tomorrow to raise those very specific concerns. I mean, there will be environmental impacts just based on the fact that there's an open pit operation taking place on the territory. That being said, I understand that the proponent will put in place measures to remediate those environmental impacts. But in terms of the concerns being addressed and making sure that there are remedial measures put in place to avoid situations such as the ones you're describing, the review process does provide for that to take place.
Oh, well, whatever happens, that's just one of the things I wanted to hear, but I'm still not happy with the site of the location of it and everything else, the basins, even the waste rock itself, where it's going to be located. There's large amounts of body of water nearby. Whatever overflow, whatever wash off happened, it's going to be going in. Just that that's my worry. If we do say no, what's going to happen in the end? So thank you for answering my question.
Maybe just on a closing note on that very aspect that you're raising, I encourage you to raise those very specific issues with the proponent tomorrow.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to come here.
Well, at least we know that your concerns have been voiced, and I'm sure that somebody tomorrow will ensure that those are relayed to the proponent.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'll let this be. I got you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Hello. Okay. 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 How will the mine affect the community and the youth?
What's the good and bad of it?
I guess there's different ways of looking at it. I think we've seen the bad part of it earlier. Disputes, land disputes. There's going to be, for sure, impacts. We're going to feel some impacts. I think these are questions that can be brought up tomorrow. There's going to be at least 15 trucks a day load going down south. Of course, there's going to be social. These are just some of the ideas I have. I'm sure other people have other ideas. The positive, there's employment opportunity, youth to be trained. This can go for 20 years. Someone can retire on this kind of work. We are going to need a lot of employment. This could be an opportunity for the young people. I don't know if you want to do some pros and cons.
Well, first of all, thank you for being brave. You remind me when I was a little guy too, and my views haven't changed. And the reason why I want to be involved in this process is I wanted to make sure that somebody like me who is concerned about environment, the land, water, creeks, fish, all of the above, that somebody was there to look at it from that view. And I will always remain an activist, I think. I don't think that's ever going to change because like you, Kirby, I love the land, I love fish, I love all the fish equally, not unlike Kirby. But how this thing started for us, for the community of Nemska, like if I can give you a bit of history, why we're all of a sudden interested to look at this project. It started when they proposed to divert the Rupert's the river back in 2002, 2001. We looked at possibilities of alternatives, first of all, to find other alternatives instead of diverting, find other alternatives, renewable energy, to replace that project. And it didn't work out for us, so we continued. But along the way, we also learned about green energy. Green energy meaning finding new things, alternative energy, wind, different things, including hydrogen or hybrid vehicles, use less gas and exhaust and all those things. We got to learn all that. And on top of that, we also found out that lithium is one of those minerals that's used for hybrid vehicles, cell phones, iPads. But one of the minerals that's considered to be part of the green movement. And on one hand, you can have uranium and destroy countries, or you can have lithium to help reduce extraction for more minerals for batteries, let's say, because they're longer lasting, they're safer, they're greener than probably any other mineral. So in the end, when we found out that we had lithium in our front yard, we said, well, why don't we take a look at it? Let's learn about lithium. So the first company that came in didn't want to talk to us, didn't care about the authority of the community. They just wanted to talk directly to the tallyman. And they just wanted to make money. Well, the new guy that came in bought those assets. We started talking to them. And we even put money in there. The community put money in there to invest in a company to see what it could do to help the community. So if you look at the whole thing, how it started for me is I looked at the mineral itself, what it does for the world. And then from there, I came all the way back to see what can we do to help the world be a better place, to extract this mineral that helps the world, especially with global warming. There's dispute in that, but in the end, when you compare alkaline to all the other minerals that's used in batteries with lithium you can play longer, your Xbox, your wireless, cell phones, you don't have to change the battery like every 2 hours. So there's a lot of benefits to the planet with lithium. So to take it out of our territory is another question. There will be disputes of boundaries. To me, those are easy to settle. So if you look at it from a global point of view, and if you're an environmentalist like me at heart for life, how do you take out that mineral the safest way possible without impacting the surrounding area, the fish, the water, the creeks, the land? Can you do it? Is it possible? Well, that's what we're trying to find out. Can we do it like that? And if we can, and if it benefits you, young man, to work there, maybe not as in explosives or in driving big vehicles, but as a big boss. As a big boss, rather than, what our people usually do today. With this project, this agreement, we've taken everything we learned from all other agreements, and we've done our best to make it the most advanced agreement. And this project, the same way. If we did this project the safest way possible, maybe we could be a model project, a model community. We own parts of the company. We work in the mine, the safest mine in the world. That's possible too. So the idea here is trying to think differently. Is it possible? That mineral is always going to be there. Whether we extract it today, tomorrow, or 100 years from now, that's another question. But can we do it this time without affecting young people like yourselves, affecting your water, affecting your beach, affecting your fishing? No. I ask you, can we do it? Like all other projects have in history, they made all their mistakes. This project, we're learning from those mistakes. That's why I sit there. That's why I talk to James and his family any way I can to find out how we could do it right. If it's going to be done, can we do it right without affecting all those things that matter to us as Crees? So if that answers your question, I hope it does. This is my view of the project. That's why I'm involved. I want to see if there's going to be a project, a model project of the world. Doing it right, not the way it used to be done. Agree?
Thank you.
Do you have another question? Okay. Go ahead.
Are you just doing this for money? Or are you just taking it and not giving in fair enough for the other employees if they work?
Can you understand the
Like
last question? Yeah.
if you get paid, your stuff there, what you want to do, but are you just doing it for the money or whatever you want to do? You're just trying to take the money or?
No. That's a very good question. A very smart boy. You'll be running this mine, I think. Dance, my daughter recently finished a heavy equipment operator course. She knows she can drive the bulldozer, she can drive the shovel, she can drive the, what else does she drive? The loader and the grader. And she's 23. And I asked her, would you be interested to work in the mine? She says, I think I can take the challenge. So there's young people like that, I find that are very interested, and young girls, young men have that opportunity. An opportunity will come, and we janoge nemskainuts ebawitsagonge I would soon magtagone a spitska would now sit. Asin sits no did you eat shake? Asin sits did you be take? We understand how to tackle these issues now. I don't believe it's always about the money. I believe that the community should be compensated if there's an agreement in place. There is a chapter which is what's called financial chapter. Of course, we're going to be fighting with Guy, and this is the toughest one. What most we can get for the community, and also create an opportunity for the young, doing it in a safe way at the same time. So it's a combination of many things. A lot of issues have been brought to the table, related to disputes, related to environment, related to how do we deal with simple issues that we can't seem to solve here today. So I don't believe it's about the money. I believe it's about opportunity. This is Nemiska land. We have to be part of it. In the past, we were never part of development. Now we have that opportunity to make the best of it, the way we want it. And that's how a lot of these agreements been developed over the past few years, is how we want to develop the North. And this is what's happening with the new laws that are coming into place, is that Nemiska people have to be part of decisions on any development in Nemiska territory. That's what our past leaders left for me, left for you. So you're in a very good position to decide your future. That's how I can answer that one, I guess.
Well, I would encourage all of you students to, if you could put together, like, not just ask your questions here, but also put together your questions, your concerns, and submit them, to the review committee. I encourage you to do that, because when there's an opportunity like that, you take it. You do whatever you can. If you want to protect that area, you can. You can just go ahead and do it. At the same time, you look at all the other aspects of it. What is this project all about? Well, on one hand, for a company, it's money. It's it's what they do. They extract minerals and they sell it to the world, and they do their part. They make their money. But at the same time, our communities, like, you look at this building, where did the money come from? Well, something had to be agreed. There had to be an agreement somewhere, and that's where money came from. In our community, one thing I'm very proud of Nemiska is that we started the company called EU Power. It's a renewable energy company that does green energy, safe energy, that a lot better than putting up dams, diverting rivers. And I think it can do a lot of good things in the future. And for Nemiska, if they're able to pull something, they could say, if they go ahead with this project and find a way to do it the most, like, the safest way, then we become something else on top of that. We become a model community coming up with a model project for the world. There's a lot of mining that happens around this planet everywhere. And if we can help and teach the world to do it right, we can do it. And about the money part, like, for me, whatever I do, I got to feed my kids, right? So I have to be paid whatever I do, sure. But, once this thing is done, I'm done. Then new people start making money. They get jobs. If it goes ahead. So many things have been done differently in the past. But if we try to do things differently in the way it's suitable for everybody, that we don't just think about the money, but we also think about our future. They diverted a river. I didn't like it. I wanted an alternative, and it could have been done. I did my part as best as I could to speak against it and promote the alternative. I failed. And this time, I wanted to be part of something, to introduce something different. If I could do that, help in any way to do that, well, if it helps the world, the companies find a way to do mining better and safer, then we can do our part. That's my view.
Thank you.
And thank you, brave man.
tested. Coda. Julia Denzagon. Brandon, and to all you kids, students, I want to thank you very much for being part of this. I remember doing what you're doing as a kid at the beginning when James Bay Agreement was being talked about. I sat there like you listening to what was going to happen, what was going on, and the only way that I've learned to understand what was going on was to be in where everything was happening. So I stuck my nose everywhere, being nosy about what's. Then that's how I got myself involved. And what you did, you're going to remember for a long time. I also invite you, tune in. What we're doing here is also live. Ask your school, your teacher, to see it online as part of your regular classroom. Or even come here and do exactly what you did. And tomorrow I invite you as well to ask exactly the same things or different things to the person who wants to build the mine. You have every right to voice your concerns. And because whatever happens from here on, it's not going to be, it's going to be, you're the most people that are going to be affected by it, regardless of what happens in the future. All we're trying to do is help out in any way what we can to ensure that you have the best future ahead for you. So this is the exciting times for youth. And I'm very glad you're here. You guys did know. Thank you very much for coming.
Christine Chingason said what him no. When go ahead, we need to go to Swash and the Stemsti and Dakogon hair. But my high drunk, I'm Mumao. I'm snowing and small. I at the Benebu not true, but snag not true on it there. Every year, but snag not true $1 million. Not I have radio stand much at I the meeting at Quebec City, Montreal, at Anot. I'm still did some Nathan evidently. I'm $10 million, but snag no money. Not the Masnagan was skagen. Evan Pshig and Batman dinner, me I moved the was skagen. The Jim can't have not money. Evan here I have much guy Mokshanot chat. Mokshanot, seven is a togno. Evan much guy snagon, seven guys a togno. My seven job at you. Wouldn't have epic not money. But snag not money, can hang not money. Did you I have was skagen channel, name scat, say no stitch. Not smashagan, but was skagen. Heck, see, a bit job at shit, no drip but jay. We got both I know skating him years ago. Nagademna again and name sky no yachts. I'm still mark going here. Nediga shot the Jan, the mom besho de that, they go to nugget chick. My medal do I have west to the gnome was skagen. A good sacked, wonder what's baked. Ja, in der has meant tot. As we steht tot. Das the wheels meant. I didn't I couldn't hear I had a back up that was skagen. I'm going to yacht a house. I'm going to stay genuine. That's the witch meant. No did charge one sacked. When I gave it to 3 west to the gnome. The teacher opponent gone. Neither get down guy there, grasped. G sits mouth, G. When we back the kitchens can the sky snack chest, the Bogan and G-Touch. Everyone's case can't have no money. In here, was Skaigan, Kak was Skaigan, G, west to the Gnoko. When swear when job at you. Would you get the beto wash it? A trip to be was Skaigan? Uden nigant, nacht, tato washit. Ustni jut. Eguntis gaisnag de manut. Nuts papud nede. Ebesman vidiot. Etapne hagnut chula. Maten mognuto. Jui op ma chut makan. Muak jitauten hau. Egun gawi aimut man. Chit tunan hek. Het masna konos kaignum nan. Nak etipetsning not to husti. Sehen wenska. Ska we chagno is nakuts. Muy mo kundi wem stuk shoot. Ebejabat si duen. Nagadem na naganyan kanem skawino ya. Magkutigidinot. Egun gawi dia. Dejim yung asikonos kaignum nan. Egudente. Muy went gut nugni we twaset. Egwet waptum ke we twasna. Msedon wen bethoided. Tawon shot we stagno nit. Begon dit nasm chedon de dende di we stagno nit. Muy taw shulia. Muy taw bete. $1 million ke spetsnanot. Egun peshe kwigno ko was kaigen. Deju stagno ko. Mag deju we stutgno ko. Egun ne deteng sti was kaigen. Deju me muhik. Muy no te hoen geten. Tabegnes nacht. As mun skoasne nit ke nit. Papugnes gat. Mun chema wen deju tek. Deju we stut. Muy taw shulai nanot. Muy nap money gen no shau. Deju man go was kaigen to go. Deju shik. Deju shik. Deju stayan was kaigen. Egun gawitan koipse kunan was kaigen. Deju stagno ho. But snagno de skumon chula. Hydro gabits not chulau. Minagu I had. And utsnano but snagno that just not just but snagno chula. Egun de nuggets tayak. Sewen de dark hooked. Sewen usnidut get that dark hooked. I got but snagno de was kaigen chulau. Mutigi out was at the mam sets the dawn to the packet the dawn usnidut was kaigen. At sheets got none and was kaigen. Hey, up Tasco. I said the mom said stitch no doshim. Gay was some said that she's got to 20. Everyone, big semiani. The GI had. But snag not money, was again, Kagwaska, who stagno. It gets my snag and you can't. I got to ignore the head. Where that Dick Jib quarters was skagen. I have it there. Go share come go him in, but snag their money every year, but snack money. Just
1, 2. We got Christine.
Just a minute, Bella. Kopnake. Bugachuit mad no I ni I unjish adishigat Nishunji in Dashim da G tipscomt. Very good. I got to come mad sit. But tag meat pig. I Mwitsen dan die psta die dawn out. Actually, die mama meet snanes, so I I apologize, but I for that I can't be here for a while. But I got family I want to attend to, and this only happens once a year. So, but I'll come back if the meeting's still going on, because my supper's ready too. But I apologize for leaving for a while.
Christine 1, 2. I just want to touch on Christine again with New West Skagen. That way again, he weeks in Skumun. I'm going to ask good more Nigan Skaji, but Snoods guy here. EU's guy, then he's we have again, Shuyan. Just when we do Kaisha Pukamogno Gashuyan, Megon Jish. I get him shit, but it's not Ocean, my God. I get you was Skagen with Christine game with. I can be a good to go on Nistums, Gajiganota. It's got that when he beats it, that way again, Skumun Gayake, I'm going to ask on Nigan Skajis, not I know. Egura.
Yes, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Bellas, you guys say one as well.
Oce. Facem namse. I had Robert Kaga had Bertie I had I want to ask a question. I have a concern. I have an elderly brother. I have Semacha and how is it and how better and neighbor Ganyo and Gidan Ganyo, Whabouchi family. Yesterday when George gasn gasod nabeg I had Gaimet Gaided I had Nutmisti I had but Stabio I had Yaga Wajida Yaga. Well, from the Niga Krasonanich my gando squares mouth and how I had wouldn't how and there outside the squares mouth I had how far I had a step with and handy that I had. I did 15 to 20 kilometers to that. And I had a concern about my brother again. We said, for his health, then we're going to show for his health, where his cabin is. Nasha Wahunaganij and I had Mayo Magunio, I had Jaffecto Higot Ganio, I had Deke Peshot, I Mesknatska Wizo, a kag I had Nedeka Sptonoten, the rocks, I'm concerned about him, like Chayot Gashas. Four-wheeler haven't we had, skidoo haven't we had. Naska best optic now, mesk now. Agnen haga, a asko hituga. Gadget knopped meg. Agdation I done the summarize, we need to get the height of cabinet. Agnen hamoga, my concern. Jianga got to Natsmogun, said next good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bella. I didn't come to my good showing. Kids get Martin, I don't take Tayachkan, I am with match and as some cherries guys now, I meet Stog and got company. Nanako, I Jogoyo, Mosk Stagnok, I'm going to big Jogon, a stedisk, the Yamwood match, came like the such a match again, the can scoot. I enjoy Yamwood big, I Meskna is nacht, the Jituk Jogon, I Mason get sneak can't dig Tanken the Ditadoga, Wenji. I got the job for witness and I got dust and new mask not duct. I can have I Sassenji, I'm where he goes got Bestrangi, I gan no mine I have past that can have dust. Manako says Dito Dignoka, I can get an off match, done it to Dito Dignoka. I think I got controlled dust. So I non data naga then I got jo pastachka utka idea I go with mogonji was still that's good magachka then I went speech and I got new guy your minds I get non data matchka then it you say west stagnatska here kugam skmache guy then the nanachka yeah just naska wasn't dom naga I took charge one Did you with my at my good go and did you got them stoga? The next I did to the gno, I got the job past that scan. My God, making not came like G-Stagno Chega. The good on restoration is I don't know. So the Chapino Chega and mine means go beyond how I am guy. The rest of the gnots, I got the job past that. I got the judge Uchwitska, the gun that you. I got me a skagik. I don't know as a knop match now. So I she's got with my ranga as extent and how the decent match can have. I'm dust control. So secure message case and get down him. So irgend big jagan je Jerry Distayatka, Jerry did stog and the company the mina bitcoin dante guy. Saska jam with up as best in the jam with Magnan Kaga good Stayatka Nandum Skmatchagon the Jabitska Nasja di Dak Hogodan Maman Gag Beject Mayachka. So then scum nana Gabeject Mayas. Can guys good jamming. Probably. Willie and guy moment. Okay.
Hello. I have a question. What's the consequences of this mine? Because earlier my friend and my brother asked for the pros and cons of this, but you only listed the the pros of the mine, but not really the consequences for it.
Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind, we've talked about business, employment, and training opportunities, which are the pros of the project, but the fact of the matter is you're going to have a mine on your traditional territory where hunting, fishing, and trapping activities won't be able to be carried out. So right there, that's a negative impact. Also, you have to take into consideration that the project as a whole may have some social impacts within the community in terms of just the working schedules, some being single parent during the work shift. This is going to have consequences on some families in the community, but the first direct impact that comes to mind is the fact that traditional activities won't be able to be carried out on the portion of the territory where the mine is located.
Good for the community, people in the community, when only a small fraction of the community can work in there.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Like, only a small fraction of the community will be able to work there, so it's not really a big plus for the community.
Well, I mean, you have to consider that you're looking at a project that can accommodate up to about 200 employees over a period of close to 20 years. So right there, you're looking at 2 decades. I understand that it's not necessarily going to be full employment for the entire Cree community of Nemaska, but it will provide employment opportunities on a long-term basis. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, Savannah. Oh, Bella?
You went some big to go. I wanted to thank the young lady over there. Nasa extra test majet. I couldn't how I got to pick up Wiana and sits the man. Usually I hear when there's no interpreter, when they speak in English, I didn't pick up everything what's said in English. And I want to thank Selena for her great.
Okay, hello, Wajek, Oliver Jolly and Singason. I just have questions for Bertie and Robert, and also to the Chief and Council. We what making this the next week. Nigga, I'm not even here again. We start to come out again here. Most but my but just makes it gone. Let's get but it's the maker. Because in no here. What's going on? But it's the make scene here. Coming into going, I'm not even here again. And still go out, dude. 어디다 해 임다 와시 임다 해 못 가지고요 게 지베통 뭐가 이면 지대온 뭐 correct me if I'm wrong 지대온 뭐 아가 지도 되는 거 가지고인데 that's what you said nah 19 years or something like that but 지도 되는 거 건데 okay and we have this a program for kids that's been there for I don't know how many years and I would love to hear it from the people that own it and I'm talking about the Bible camp I send my kids there. Even though I'm not Christian, I still send them there because I believe in God. And they come home but full of laughter, happiness. And how are you going to fix that? I'm tired of seeing our young ones, youth, suffering. Because I've been there too. I see it in the community. Here you guys talked about we just had a nice big building. Yeah. What about the youth? When is the youth center going to be built? How much money is coming into Nemiska? Even housing. Housing. One time people said there's 19 of us in one house. Wow. There's a lot of issues that we need to fix it first before we approve this project. I'm going to tell you this. I didn't approve Rupert River. And I'm not going to approve this because I've been paddling the Rupert River since I was 16 years old. Last year, I was a guide to the youth. I turned 40. And I still love being there. You guys could have looked at something else. We could have a tourism, you know, people from outside Zimbabwe. Instead of, I don't know if you guys been there. I paddled there last year. The water was low. I was paddling along the shore. I could smell the rocks. Nu she's in the beauty gone. We in Betston. Mishkainende, it's dead. It's going to be a mouse. So, I'm my wish is I got nice to eat that. Get away, dig. I got just spread over it. Wind up with any. How do you stop a fog? Okay? Fog it picks up the water, right? It goes up to the clouds. And the clouds move. But sitting there at you. That's Mother Nature. Rupert River is not much good spoil. I people sky on the Rupert River, Joathan, you can go, much good spoil, a gin and dinanogo. Then Jotman begovan, we could need. Since you took up in the Mishkan, I want more than we could need. Think I shouldn't be my own did it, man. Mean I can just show the ctage gone to get the good average. Waiting in an gone, waiting down south is been out of Mugagon area. I'm with you. That there's shit, could say him, the experience son. Why Mugaji bake sheen? Say when we jogging, other family, young ones, youth, we judged it. Me taxo didn't. Looks good my good at stay. Stay out to go. Jedon. Okay, do dignity on big projects? I don't think it should be confidential. How we started on. We got with Magnodino, we got Tatum. Hag, we got Mubinano, and it's got you not Anna. Do I say we started to do saying this is how it's going to turn out? Without doing Jay, I met God, without doing Jay, met God, without doing good. If this got taking no go has sneer, 1960s. We're at 2014. If they can wait 50 years, I'm pretty sure they can wait another 10 years if we can fix our problem. Even our youth, even at schools, because you learn a little about mine. They can get their license. I know this guy said, you with money in the shim, you down the shim. Okay, going this not say no market. I consider them like all my kids. We don't big with them, Jim. We don't big with them, say big under them out. When I come back, they're all happy. Don't you meet them? There was one parent, big up in Scan, from Tisney to Skagnes, the Bendamic parent, I said, "Then I do the same tattoo the attack so." I won't get it. One day got neck. Stay to go there. It's gone. Ask me where that's with Tatak Tano. Much Kirby I did, I guess someone said to go, I could split up in it. Say this split in it. I've seen some mines, again, Jotin mines in there. Malartic, Amos, Valdor. If you look at water, wow, and when you I'm calling snagging. You have to go to the store to go get some water. Just Miskano, we know Gandana, we know Gandagagan. Mopship Mutat, I was go Kagna, they mentioned rocks, Hagwets to Matkabagan. May I do Sinan Hega here? Got Rupert Trevor guy. Then get snacked go hinges to be shot down traffic again. I should miss get root and or. Then get permits to do 35 tons from Bigoni. The one named Skino Abstania Rodeo, Jedwin Abstania. We mug named Skino to get there. Yani Abstat here road. Said no, man. They go to Wabunga school and we jog in gas station. Diana, which gas up with a mate man at Wabunga. Gave by Rodney, most of my man of Mark and job on this. Let's get job on Mark. None you may hand up. The going to go out and edge you should probably say cabbage. We mug mine. Not good to go to it's the same now as the job is done. I wish I got me waking has seated it up stay. We just see the granary in a city. Mitchell Abdom. Yeah, I say we better go again, they always do bishop. They always do like Mountain Lake, like Jim they always do. I say we better go on. I want to hear their site, you know, I want to hear their story. Got me hand chief and council .co. Yeah, workshop, something like that. At the gym. We hang on the mission, youth dialogue, mission was shed dialogue. Second snack that's go, we do dig not go, Mugish. To dig not, I got me with my dog community. We meet them. I agree, Mugis, which he say, we got was that okay. Okay, it's come not jog, and that would say, it would make that, you know. But I'm your guy. After that project, like the rock was found 1960s. We're at 2014. We're talking about what, 55 years? I'm pretty sure they can wait another five years so we can fix our problems. And don't tell me we don't have any problems, because I've seen it, I've heard it. Sometimes, okay, I'm going to tell you one thing, okay? My trap line is at Lake Evans. When they did the Rupert diversion, I didn't get anything. They told me, you guys are not affected. Now there's going to be another mine. I'm pretty sure they're going to tell me you're not. Sometimes I feel happy, safe over there, because I'm glad I'm not trying to get the piece of the pie. Sometimes I feel safe out there, alone, you know, and nobody's, no. But I know there's things that's been going on in my trap line, and I got questions to these guys, but I don't want to bring it up here, because I know this is a different issue we're talking about. We're talking about the Mountain Lake. And even our band meetings. I wouldn't mind if we have band meetings here. I would love to come here and sit here and listen to the band meetings. But sometimes they go over there and they close the door. What? Sometimes they just stand there and I guess it's confidential. And what happens to confidential? Look at it right now. This is a perfect example right here. Good day. Said Naskumullah. Thank you very much.
Over. Yeah, sure.
Whabouchi Ritmadno GNG Eshkai Utkat Pimot Eshkuichit Chistaud Ogunji CRA, the environment. I think it's important that we hear and what their findings are and ask questions. We got Semega Gehoji Telport, Reggie Tomatic has been here sitting very patiently. And he too has something to present on the health, social side of the project. Danishtak Hugui Matchinanot. Dangashim Scotta Dog Yogia. Gemaga in my the proponent and mine go your stat. Eshke we do to bet on all. We used to go Kashu got Samuel one, Eshma Natim Higag. That's Tawich Camille Nandem we to make and when go we bedge my new go you start. We'll take in your comments, but the news go I stood make Ogun you shouldn't matter in you. It's important whatever your concerns and comments are integrated into this process, so that you're part of it. But I'm really hoping that what you just said, some of the things, particularly about the mining, that you tell Mr. Guy Barasa, who's going to be here, how you feel, what are your concerns about the project. And you told us, but it's also very important that you reflect those concerns or tell those concerns. You go to back. Nandem wait to wagon way. Me next to get the gun, which I should go down and Hagan, how good stretch I would agonot and mine. To get out when you a bit asked a bit all. It's tag Ogunji taken out on you than how they to agonot and mine, Ogun walk out with my good hand and wait here guy. Next, what you stagger and you scoby tega, next at 2 we mega, no inst mega. Next, why they get gone. And Nishigaho guy started. Beshigum got a niche up to me out with a kega at so in my gaipsha bosh to Chiatka and Satan Gagam said it at all has 3 hours no dacha we nanga. Ogunash say at Taikut, Bijake, bosh to it, Chick. George got now, George you ate and all. At 2 we Ugia, Medin, we do that. And Satan and Najima do taxi, they couldn't heap with all and ye took shit dog. So I'm going to pass the mic back to Teddy. Teddy, you.
Thank you, Thomas. So guys, I'm not going to wait here. Double again, Thomas, just guys, with my gear, get the edgy dado and the Osudak shit, because you what I go bacon go Kelly LeBlanc, and I go to the CRA environment. Yeah, but said. Askeba dat shit ga mo e kai de gontis udeti sai hedis but dat es kai guys moeten hier when you get to see met I we get the koga what say want her you I so you guys know I cheese Twidistanno tisa mastiska musi initido anti doge snacks guai kalila blanc. Sudoga gistade kvidja pistede guai gwetsemuka to konti gwetsu. As you bet gwetsu the wenji zueka. Kagai gistade ishkmi daud beg go Reggie Tomatak, Public Health Officer, I would say, Elgubin, I used a presentation. I would get kept Sistanuga. The good guy was 7 guys, Capisto, we went 7 days ago. Harry, Jolly. Harry's got a point there, I think so. The proposals, okay, that's off the record, I tell you. So. Do you want a break for supper and we come back and continue? Okay, all right, so we'll take some time off, have some supper, make sure you don't go home, okay? Stay around and we'll continue right after. Okay, I want to thank Robert, Bertie, and Mr. Franzo for coming here. Thank you.